Hi class, today we're going to look at the notes for section 9.5 where we're going to apply a system of equations and its solutions to real world contexts. I really like this section because there's a lot of different places that you would actually use systems of equations in the real world, and today we're going to look at a couple of examples. So it says for today's notes you'll be analyzing different cost plans to determine which one's best for you. What information about yourself do you think is important in thinking about gym membership plans? So you can pause this, discuss with your group for just a few minutes or your partner. And so hopefully you had a good conversation about some things that you would think about for a gym plan. Potentially, maybe how much is it per month? Maybe how much is their enrollment fee, etc. Okay, so today we're going to look at joining a club, and you can see that we have three plans. In the ultimate membership, you would pay a $10 fee to join, so a $10 enrollment fee. Then it would be $20 per month, but you would get access to 5 locations. If you go with just the basic membership, it's $50 to join, $15 a month, but you only get access to 1 location. And the epic membership is $0 to join, and you just pay a set flat rate of $220 per year. And once again, you get all 5 locations like the ultimate membership. So pause this video for a second and then just discuss some major differences you notice, and if you're trying to choose a plan, what factors will go into your decision. Okay, so just to follow up, when you looked at the 3 plans, some of the major differences I noticed were just that the amount to join changes, the monthly rate changes, and then the access to locations is different for some of them. So that's what I filled in here. And if you're going to try to choose a plan, what factors will go into your decision? For me, I think about, okay, well, first of all, how long do I plan to be a member? I would like to say forever, but you just never know. Do I care if I can go to multiple gyms? Because we know that's one of the big differences. And then because some of them have that upfront cost, I have to ask myself, how much money do I have upfront to pay versus monthly money? So those are some things I think about when I'm signing up for something like this. Okay, so if we're going to analyze this information mathematically, we have to be able to write an equation for each membership. Now at first here, I am just going to focus on the ultimate and basic because there's a little bit of a unique thing about the epic membership. So for the ultimate membership, I have a y equals equation, and because the $20 per month is the rate that I pay over and over and over again, I can write that as 20x plus the initial fee, which was $10. So you can see we can quickly and easily write these equations in slope-intercept form, where my rate of change or my slope is the same as the amount I pay per month, and then I'm adding on the enrollment fee. So for the basic, if I use that same strategy, I'd have y equals $15 per month, so 15x plus $50 to join. Okay, as I said, I'm going to come back and do the epic in just a little bit because that one's a little bit trickier. So let's take a look and graph these. Okay, so it says go to Desmos and graph them to compare. So I'm going to pull up Desmos on my computer. And I believe I already changed the setting. So I'm going to change that in just a second. But in here, because they're both y equals, I can just type in 20x plus 10. That's going to graph in red. And then I'm going to graph 15x plus 50. And that's going to graph in blue. Now you can see that I can't see it very well. So the way we can change our window size in Desmos is to click on this little wrench. And then we can change the x and y axis here. So I'm going to go with the grid that we gave you. So it was from 0 to 20 on the x-axis. So I'm just going to change those. And then on the y-axis, and we're only graphing the first quadrant because we have to deal with positive numbers in the real world. And we had it go up to 300. Okay? So now you can see it nice and easily. And here's the nice thing about Desmos. If you want to find, because ultimately we want to find this point of intersection. Okay, so remember the 20x plus 10, that the red line is my ultimate membership. So if we think about that cost is the y-axis, when the red line is lower, that's a better deal. Okay, so as I look at this, this is a better deal than the basic membership up at this point. But this point of intersection, if I click on it, it gives me that after 8 months, both are $170. So that's when both plans cost the same. So you can see the blue line switches to the lower line, so that's the basic. So after 8 months, it would be cheaper for me to have the basic plan. So that's how we use graphing and real-world applications to look at these systems of equations. So I could go on here, and we said at 8, 170, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 40, 60, so 170. They both go through that point. Ultimate, I'm going to graph in blue. That was 20, so it's got a y-intercept of 20. So the blue line goes through those two, and I'm going to label it ultimate because you may not have different colors. You could just label a line, but you want to keep them separate as you analyze. And then the basic starts up at 50, but then it also goes through this point because that was their point of intersection that we saw in Desmos, okay? So we said that this was the point 8, 170, which is what this asked, okay? So Epic, the reason I waited on that is that's a little bit different. If we really wanted to think about what it means to buy that Epic membership, you pay $220 up front. If that's the annual cost, usually they make you buy that up front. So it would actually just be the equation y equals 220. So if I was actually going to graph that, it would just be a horizontal line from 0 to 12. It would go to here, okay? So you could look at that and say, and then after 12 months, it would actually jump up to 440, and it would be what we call a step function. Having said that, so that is in the real world what that actually means, but we're going to actually change it to be more so what we're talking about here. So we're going to think about if we paid $220 over the course of the year, so we're going to divide it as a per month, okay? And that one had a $0 initiation fee. So when we answer questions for this problem, we're going to utilize this method, even though in reality it would mean more so it's just that 220 like I drew in the green there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Desmos, and now I'm going to graph the Epic after I label this was basic so that I can keep my line straight. Let's go back to Epic. Oops, I got to go here. And so in the third one, I'm going to do 220 divided by 12 times x, and then it was plus 0. Okay, and now we can see on this, oops, sorry about that. We can see on the same grid that green intersects blue right over here. So again, if I click it, it tells me at 15, 275. So after 15 months, it costed 275. But as we can see, it's never going to cross the red. The red is increasing greater than the green. Okay, so Epic is always going to be cheaper than my ultimate. Okay, so let's go back to this and add in that line. So we said that it intersects at, so I'll go with the actual green, Epic, they intersected at 15, 275. So I got to go over 15 up to 75. 20, 40, 60, 75. Okay, so that means I have to change my red line just a little bit. So red now needs to go through both of those points. I didn't draw that one very straight, obviously. So it goes there, so it goes up there. And then finally my green line, which is ultimate, started at 0, and it goes through that green line. Okay, so this is Epic. And we said that crosses at 15, 275. Okay. It says ultimate and Epic do not intersect in first quadrant. Why would you ever choose ultimate over Epic anyways? Well, again, the idea that technically speaking, Epic would need $220 up front. Okay, so now that we have that picture, we can go on to our next questions. It says, if you think you might only want to belong to the gym for 5 months or so, which plan would be a good plan for you to use and why? So again, at 5 months, I would be looking for the lowest lines. So we're looking at either Epic or Ultimate, and again, I'm going to probably just pick Ultimate. Both of those, Epic and Ultimate, both have 5 locations, so those are the same. So depending on how you think about Epic, if it was truly just a monthly fee, but I think the difference with Epic is you'd have to join for a minimum of a year, whereas if you were going to, I don't think they would let you cancel in that case after 5 months. So therefore, I'm going to pick the Epic after 5 months, Ultimate, because it's cheaper than the basic at that point. Okay? And like I said, I just described why I pick over that. Now, describe someone who should choose basic. Well, if we look at when basic becomes cheaper, for sure, if you're going to have it longer than 15 months, you would choose basic because that's by far the cheapest, always. After 8 months, I would choose it for sure over Ultimate, assuming that I don't need the flexibility to go to multiple locations. So if I'm okay going to the one that I sign up for, because basic does have that restriction, there's only one location. Okay, last but not least, let's look at another example. It says, in the olden times, cell phone companies used to charge us per text message, both sending and receiving. Here are 3 old-fashioned cell phone plans. There's actually only 2. Plan A, basic fee of $2.95 and 10 cents per text message. So if I'm going to write an equation for that, again, it's 0.10, because we're talking money, x plus $29.95. Plan B is $49.95 per month plus 5 cents. So y equals 0.05x plus $49.95. Okay, so again, if we wanted to use Desmos to graph those two to figure out ultimately this question, or pretend you're working for a cell phone company and you want to convince customers to choose Plan B, use numbers and data to write a sentence convincing someone to use Plan B. So let's go to Desmos. I'm going to erase what I have here. My 2 new equations are 0.10x plus $29.95. So Plan A is represented by the orange line. Plan B is 0.05x plus $49.95. As you can see, I can't see it in the window, so let's change to the window size we have. 0 to 500, because we have more text we're sending now, and 0 to 80, we're not going to own the phone as long. So again, I just took those from the grid we gave you on your paper. And remember, my orange line is Plan A, my purple line is Plan B, and the point I really care about is that point of intersection. So when I go back to my paper, I can graph Plan A was at $29.95. We go over to 400, $69.95. About there. Okay, so again, this is Plan A. We'll just label them as though we had one color. This is the point 400, $69.95, and then Plan B, $49.95, and it also goes through that point. So this is Plan B. So you can see that Plan A is a better deal until you hit that point of intersection, which is when Plan B gets to be a better deal. So if I was going to convince someone to use Plan B, I would want to convince them that they are most likely going to send 400 or more text messages, because that's when it becomes a better deal. So Plan A is cheaper if you use less than 400. I'm going to make the argument that most people nowadays probably send more than 400 texts a month. That's about 14 to 15 texts per day, and if you think about how many texts you send and receive in a day, I'm guessing it goes well beyond that. So this is how we can use systems of equations. So we have 2 equations. That's what makes it a system, to think about purchases that we're making in the real world. You can now go ahead and work on your 9.5 homework worksheet, where you get to practice a couple more problems. Thanks.